Welcome, focused learners, to today's explainer. Have you ever, actually stopped in the middle of the produce aisle, picked up a piece of fruit you've eaten 100 times, and realized you have absolutely no idea how it got its unique texture? It's kind of crazy when you think about it. Well, today we're exploring this fantastic little micro-mystery that comes to us from the blog Notes on Gardening. We're going to look closely at an everyday grocery store discovery that, let's be honest, most of us just pass right by without a second thought. Okay, let's dive into this. The author of the blog, Ang, shared a super relatable anecdote in a post called Unraveling the Mystery of Honey Melon Netting. So Ang had been actively trying to grow the honey melon, which is known scientifically as cucumis-melo, right there in their own garden. But ironically, it wasn't until a totally routine grocery run that Ang had this sudden realization. And honestly, we are all guilty of this, right? We just wander the aisles on total autopilot, trusting our fruit blindly as long as it isn't visibly bruised. We grab our produce, toss it in the cart, and eventually eat the whole shebang, all without ever truly observing the complex biology sitting right there on the skin. As Ang put it, little did I know that I had never actually paid attention to what the fruit looks like. Actually, scratch that. Taking the time to really look at and even photograph the melon, that's what led directly to a rather brilliant question. Take a mental picture of a honey melon for a second. It's covered in this intricate, raised, almost woven texture. It literally looks like a net has been wrapped super tightly around the fruit. But what actually causes that web-like pattern? I mean, it obviously isn't stamped on in a factory, and it definitely isn't just some random decorative choice by Mother Nature. By shifting from just a casual observation to a scientific mindset, we uncover this hidden biological mystery playing out right there in the fruit bowl. The pattern on the outside, it's actually a direct map of exactly what is happening on the inside. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the precise scientific term for this phenomenon: suberization. Okay, it's a slightly intimidating word, I know, but it describes a completely natural, fundamental biological reaction. When you see that netting on the melon, you are actually looking at a healed wound. No way, right? Suberization is the process where a plant actively repairs microscopic cracks in its own surface, sealing them up tight to protect the fruit. It's essentially plant first aid. The melon creates this textured web-like pattern as a defensive healing mechanism. But that begs the question, what's causing these microscopic cracks in the first place? Let's move to the mechanics and see how this builds step by step. How does this microscopic healing create the rough texture we actually feel? Well, here is the biological breakdown. First, the melon experiences vigorous, rapid internal growth. It's basically expanding from the inside out. Step 2. Because the inside is growing so incredibly fast, the outer skin is forced to stretch way beyond its limits, and this results in these violent-sounding microscopic tears right on the surface. Step 3. The plant immediately reacts to these tiny ruptures. It acts like a medic, healing the microscopic wounds by deploying protective tissue. And finally, step 4, this healing process produces a buildup of cork-like scar tissue. So that raised, rough webbing you feel under your thumbs when you hold the melon, that is literally the accumulated cork-like scar tissue from thousands of tiny healed stretch marks. So the crucial point is how we actually apply this biology to our everyday lives. When you're standing in the produce section, trying to pick the absolutely perfect honey melon, that netting is your ultimate guide. All those microscopic tears, all that suberization, all that cork-like buildup, it equals a healthy, ripening fruit. It tells you a story of a melon that grew so robustly and vigorously on the vine that it literally burst its own skin, healed itself, and just kept right on growing. It is the exact opposite of a flaw. And this brilliantly illustrates our main takeaway for your next grocery run. Let's summarize the visual signs of a healthy melon based on Ang's findings. Rather than hunting for a perfectly smooth rind, remember that the rough skin is a completely natural biological process. It's absolutely not a defect. That beautiful web-like pattern, it's the direct result of vigorous, explosive internal growth. And the presence of that cork-like scar tissue serves as a highly reliable indicator of ripeness and overall fruit health. Simply put, the more prominent the netting, the more the melon thrived. By just understanding the science of suberization, you've literally just leveled up your grocery shopping game. It's just amazing how much complex biology is hiding in plain sight, right there in our shopping carts. Once you understand the story behind the scars of the honey melon, it entirely changes how you view the produce aisle. It makes you wonder about, say, the rough skin of an avocado or the dimples on an orange. So I'll leave you with this final thought. The next time you're running errands on autopilot, take a second to really look at your food. What other fascinating grocery store mysteries might you be completely overlooking?
Stay curious, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.